Good morning, everyone. Virgo here. It is April 6th, 2021. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Everyone, I would like for you to meet Amenti Moor. Amenti has no subscribers and isn't someone who is creating any kind of content, but Amenti Moor loves to run around the Virgo Triad channel and make crazy claims. And we're going to take a look at some of those crazy claims and correct him on a few of them. So join me. Now, there's a lot to cover here, but since I'm being challenged, it's important that I make sure that all of the sourced and verified information is within this video. After all, we don't want to disappoint Amenti Moor. All right, everyone. So the very first comment that was made on a video that I did right after Sharon Tracy Gale's consort, DeCorey Pitts, had been sentenced. He was sentenced to 5 to 10 years in prison for the risking catastrophe and having a weapon when he legally was not allowed to have one charges. But Amenti Moor says, you are a propaganda pusher. Now, here's what's interesting. Propaganda, by its very nature, is information that's actually not true and pushed for the purpose of political narratives, we'll say. But in this case, this is just simply news. It's factual and real and is documented in many different places. It's not propaganda. There's no political narrative behind it. It simply is what it is, which is basically the way facts work. You see, Amenti, facts don't care about your feelings, and quite frankly, neither do I when it comes to facts. Now, it's a shame that DeCorey fell into this mess because we all know that the online Moors don't understand that the Moorish Temple of America are really the only actual legitimate business that can call itself the Moorish. I mean, it's a religion. That's what it's about. Now, when you run around making your crazy claims, making statements like you own the land and this is really Morocco and so on and so forth, well, that's just delusional and doesn't make you a Moor. Do a DNA test, like the one I have that says I'm Native American. Then maybe we'll talk. But regardless, I digress. Let's move forward. So now that we understand what propaganda is, let's take a look at the real facts, shall we? We're over on the delcotimes.com news website. This is legitimate news. It is the main news for the Delaware County, Pennsylvania area that Sharon and DeCorey used to live in. And as you can see, it says, Upper Darby man gets 5 to 10 for shotgun risking catastrophe. And there's an entire article on it. And I'm not going to go into reading it because you obviously already understand what the case is. Now, you probably will just run around claiming that this is quote-unquote fake news. So let's check with the real source. Okay, Cupcake, here we are. We're over here at the Delaware UJS portal, Pennsylvania Courts.us case search. And as you can see, I've pulled up all of DeCorey Pitts' cases. And there's quite a few, aren't there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one of them was actually a trial for murder. To be fair, though, he wasn't convicted in that one. However, he was in this one. So we can go ahead and take a look at this particular case, which is the risking catastrophe case. And we're going to do that right now. Here's the Court of Common Pleas of Delaware County docket. It's a criminal docket, and it's specifically for, as you can see, DeCorey Pitts at the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You can see here that there are a ton of different charges. Look at them all. Risking catastrophe, recklessly endangering another person, conspiracy, possession of a firearm that's prohibited, conspiracy of endangering welfare of children 3 different times. I mean, there's a ton of them, right? So we see that this was held over for lower court, which let me explain that to you, Cupcake, because you may actually think that means a lower court, one that's not as important. But in reality, it simply means that the judge said, you know what, we need to move forward with this. We're going to move this over to the court that's going to try it. And that's exactly what they did. They tried it. They tried Decory Pitts, and guess what? Right here in number 5, it says, endangering the welfare of children, parent, guardian, other commit offenses, was found guilty. And then we go up here to recklessly endangering another person. He was found guilty. And then we go over here and we find risking catastrophe. He was found guilty. Yeah. There's also 2 that were withdrawn here because I believe, just like Sharon, he kind of took a plea deal. You know what that means? That means he's sold out too. Okay, here we go. Last one, number 8. Possession of firearm that was prohibited, found guilty. Yeah, that racked up a maximum of 120 months. Not very smart, but regardless, there is no way you can hide this. This is totally transparent. All you have to do is go over to the Court of Common Pleas of Delaware County, look through the case dockets, go to the criminal court, and locate Decory Pitts' actual criminal court history. And you can pull this up, and there is absolute 100% documented, sourced, and verified proof that what I have provided in the video that you decided to claim was propaganda is actually just fact. Moving on to your next comment. On to the next comment that Amenti made. Here we go. So now what do y'all have to say about since she, Tracy, is free? Now who are the nationals? Hope you guys wake up. Go check out France versus United States. You're in the land known as Morocco. Laugh my ass off. Y'all have no jurisdiction. Y'all better start studying law. Well, I could actually say that you better start studying English, but I digress. Here we go. What do I have to say about Tracy being free? This is what I have to say about Sharon Tracy Gale being free. First of all, she took a plea deal. She was sentenced to 18 months in jail. She served 2 years in jail. And she's currently on probation with conditions. And yes, I can prove it. We'll be going to that next. But let me answer your other questions first. So, who are the nationals? Let me tell you who the nationals are. If you're an American citizen, you're a national. Isn't that funny? It's really interesting how that works. You should actually check it out. Do some real research for a change. Hope you guys wake up. Well, we're already awake. We've been awake the whole time. And that's why we were following actual verified and sourced informations, like the actual court documents, like the real audio from the courts. But, I guess that's just too exciting for you. Or maybe too boring for you. You'd rather stick with your conspiracies. So you go right ahead. Now you tell me to go check out France versus United States and somehow lead into the idea here that we're in the land known as Morocco because of that case in some manner. Well, here's what's funny about that. You never mention which France versus United States, because there's 3 of them, 2 of them heard by the Supreme Court. Let's take a look at all 3 and see if we can determine which one it was that you were actually boggling on about, because for the life of me, I can't figure it out. Here we are over on supreme.justia.com. Now, This is from the U.S. Supreme Court. As you see, we're looking at a syllabus of France versus United States, 164 U.S. 676 from 1897. We're going to go in chronological order. I know how you guys love to look at the past. Here we go. This was argued November 13th of 1896 and decided January 4th of 1897. Basically, the plaintiffs were in the middle of a lottery, and there was one lottery going on in Covington, Kentucky, and another going on opposite in Cincinnati, Ohio. And they were doing drawings twice a day. They had agents in Cincinnati, each of whom before the drawing sent a messenger to Covington with a paper showing the various numbers chosen and the amounts bet and the money less his commissions. After the drawing was a official print, which was made consistent of the print sheet showing the numbers in their consecutive order as they came out of the wheel, and on the line beneath the numbers were arranged in the natural order. In addition to the official print, these messengers, after the drawing, had been brought back to the agents at Cincinnati, who was known as hit slips. These were slips of paper with nothing but the winning numbers on them, together with a statement of a sum in dollars. The money to the amount named on the paper was brought over by the messenger to the agent in Cincinnati, and some of these messengers were arrested as they were coming from Covington, walking across the bridge, and just as they came to the Cincinnati side, they had with them in their pockets the official sheet of the hit slips, as above described, containing the result of the drawing, which had just been concluded in Covington. They had the money to pay the bets, and were on their way to the various agents in the city of Cincinnati. Procuring the carrying of these papers was the overt act towards the accomplishment of the conspiracy upon which the conviction of the plaintiffs in error were based. So this was a lottery scam. Now, this doesn't prove anything having to do with some kind of an idea that the United States is Morocco. So we'll move on to the second case. Now, here's the second case, which was tried in 1966. This is James E. France versus the United States of America. And he was actually attempting to try to sue because he was arrested for bank robbery, armed bank robbery as a matter of fact, but then claimed that he had a mental condition, and that mental condition meant he didn't know who he was or where he was during the time that this occurred. Basically, doesn't mean anything pertaining to this land being Morocco. So let's move on to number 3. This is Jamie L. France versus the United States in 2006. The Supreme Court of the United States on June 12th of 2006 said this petition for a writ is denied. So I'm sorry, I just don't know what that pertains to when you're trying to make the point that this land is Morocco. Listen. You want to tell other people that they better understand law? You better start actually citing some things that prove what you're saying. There's actually no evidence whatsoever provided in any one of these 3 cases that suggest anywhere near close to what it is that you are trying to lead into in your comment. Finally, we have no jurisdiction. That's what your claim is. What you mean is that the judge or the court has no jurisdiction. But in reality, the court has complete jurisdiction. And I can prove it by the fact that Sharon Tracy Gale showed up to court and was arrested. She was in jail. And if they had had no jurisdiction, that couldn't have happened. As a matter of fact, if you truly believe that a court doesn't have jurisdiction, why are you even communicating with them? Why? Because you know they do. You're a LARPer. You absolutely 100% live in a world of delusion. And it doesn't really matter whether you are deluded or not, because the rest of the world continues to move on and doesn't carry with them your delusions. Let's move on to your next comment here on Amenti. Virgo Triad, I know you're an agent. Now tell everyone how Sharon got out this month and is home. And she didn't sell out, and now she has a case against the city. Kick rocks. It wasn't until I got this comment that I realized who you actually are. See, there was this one guy, and his name was Marvin, and he liked to go to jail a lot. And one of the ways he liked to go to jail was by using a little ditty called Accepted for Value. As a matter of fact, he walked his rear end into a BMW dealership at one point, and he tried to pay with a check from a Fidelity account where he had claimed that secret squirrel money from the government, from a secret account that they made for him at birth, he had gotten a way to break into it, and he was trying to prove to everybody that he could purchase a brand new BMW with his secret squirrel money that he had transferred falsely and frivolously into this Fidelity account. And guess what happened? He went to jail. But you know what he used to say to me all the time? When I did the report on this man, this is what he used to say to me. Virgo Triad, you're an agent. I know you're an agent. And you know what, bitch? Kick rocks. So, I'm just saying. But anyway, moving on. Now tell everyone how Sharon is out this month. Well, as a matter of fact, Amenti, I've already done that. I did an entire report on exactly what she was sentenced, how she got sentenced, and her actual plea deal. Now you say here, though, that she didn't sell out. You know, I would call taking a plea deal selling out in your language. I mean, really, let's think about it now. You're not supposed to join her, right? In your language, in your sob-sit ideology, you're not supposed to make any kind of a contract with the courts, the judge, or any enforcement of the United States. But making a plea deal's a pretty big one. It isn't just making a deal with the court or the judge, but also with the prosecutor and the DA and the Attorney General and the entire United States. I would say that's selling out in your language. But even if you don't feel that that's the case, her having a case against the city, that's hilarious. And I hope you're right, because I want to be able to cover that and laugh at it just as much as we did all of the filings that she made over the last 2 years. Let's take a look at this. As you can see, we're back over here at the ujsportal.pacourts.us case search, and I have searched Sharon Gale, and it has pulled up all 4 of the cases, which actually are together. All of these cases pertain to the risking catastrophe case that Sharon just got out of jail for. Now let's take a look at the actual criminal docket. As you can see, this is the Court of Common Pleas of Delaware County criminal docket for Sharon Tracy Gale. And if you go down to the very bottom page where it says disposition, sentencing, and penalties, you will see right here in black and white that it clearly shows that she received a minimum of 6 months with a maximum of 12 months and a total of 6 to 12 months. And then it says, have no direct or indirect contact with victim and residents, which means the old residents that she attempted to try to go and squat in. And then it says, comply with rules and regulations governing probation and or parole, concurrent to another case number, by the way, which I believe she received the additional 6 months for, and that would be for jumping bail the first time. You will notice that there is filed in this docket a document that shows that she took a plea deal. And based upon that plea deal, she received this sentencing and was actually able to be released. Well, I'm very sorry, but that is not getting out based on the fact that she is some form of national. She didn't. She took a plea deal. She couldn't take it anymore, and I don't blame her for that. What I blame Sharon for is being a lying, manipulating scammer, and that's exactly what you are, Amenti. And I have to tell you something, because it's just been bothering me. So I'm going to do it, even though it's against my normal way of speaking. Amenti, kick rocks, bitch.